While I was in Dallas for the DFW G.I. Joe show, I met Becky and Aaron from Take Me Home Tonight Toys. They're a husband and wife collecting duo who have a YouTube channel, an Instagram page, and set up at shows like here at DFW G.I. Joe show. So my friend Brett and I met them at the show, got to talking about action figures and collecting in general, and they invited us over to take a look at their personal toy collection. So that is what we're doing today. We're going to take a tour of another toy collection. Now, I know this is not a proper toy hunt video, but I promise we're going to see some really cool toys today, and there will definitely be a little bit of digging. So both Becky and Aaron are collectors, and both of them have their own collections on display, and they're sort of separated, which is really cool to see. Of course, sometimes the collections can be combined where it makes sense, but it's really neat just seeing the way everything is displayed throughout this collection. So looking at all of this, there's obviously a lot to take in, but the first thing I was immediately drawn to was Aaron's massive Lego collection. Yeah, that's right. He has an entire room dedicated to Lego, and it includes a lot of vintage sets. I love how he has so many of the original boxes and he incorporates them into the displays. And that's a theme that you're going to see throughout the entire collection. But here in the Lego room, it feels like extra impressive because I talk about box art and stuff like that all the time, but there's something about those vintage Lego boxes that are so nostalgic for me, and seeing them incorporated into the displays is really hitting that home. I was brought immediately to the knights, the castles, because that's the stuff that I collected as a kid. So I'm looking over all of these sets, I'm looking at those old boxes, I am just being completely washed over with all these nostalgic feelings. It was awesome to see.
The forces of Wolfpack had ruled too long. Only one could stop this tyranny, a Lego maniac.
Forsooth, it is I! Set sail, mighty Black Knights! Enlighten these Dark Age dudes! Be not spooked by ghostly power. We return victorious! Take your prisoners to the most gnarly dungeon. Yes!
A new day dawned, but only the Lego maniac knew what night would bring.
Most hauntingly put.
The Lego System Castle Collection. These sets make collection shown. Each set sold separately.
Especially this little set right here, this tiny little one with the ghost in it. It's a small Lego set, but it's one that I had as a kid and I have very fond memories of. In fact, that ghost is my favorite Lego minifigure. I know I'm probably not alone in that, but it's because of this little set right here that he is my favorite. So I love it. I love seeing this. He's also got an amazing display of space Legos, and I had several of these when I was younger as well, especially the Blacktron sets. Man, I love everything about these. Those neon yellowish green translucent parts just really pop on all of these sets, and the way they incorporate it with the box art and always made them look so shiny and everything. Oh, it was amazing stuff. So I had a blast just kind of poring over all of the Lego here, because this isn't something that I run into very often with collectors, is seeing like a really cool vintage Lego collection like this. I loved it. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the main collection space now, where you're gonna see several different toy lines kind of all finding their own spots throughout. And as I mentioned, Aaron is a big fan of boxes and box art, which is something that I can totally relate to, especially with things like Masters of the Universe. So you're gonna see that theme throughout his collection, but starting right here with his Masters of the Universe collection, right across the top, he's got some gorgeous boxes up there displaying, my all-time favorite box art. I love seeing it. I love how it's incorporated into his collection. And then looking down at the shelves below that, you see a mixture of loose action figures as well as some more boxed items all throughout. There's a great mixture of other retro toy lines in here. There's some good Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles representation. You can see he specifically focused on the first couple years of action figures for that line. You'll see some cool other stuff in here like Voltron representation, but as you're gonna come to find out, Aaron is a big G.I. Joe fan, so there's a whole lot of G.I. Joe here. And this right here is flipping amazing. A boxed armor bot?
Send in the armor bot! It's the Joe's new secret weapon, the armor bot. It's got a mind and a voice of its own. It's got a crushing gripper, slicing ripper, and robo-gassing gun. Armor bot comes with Hawk figure. Other figures sold separately. Batteries not included.
Oh my god, this thing is awesome. It's a giant space robot for your G.I. Joe figures. I mean, this is a total Pixel Dan Joe item right here. I love this thing. But don't worry, he's got a lot of other amazing boxed G.I. Joe vehicles here as well. And then there's this, the Dino Hunter Mission playset. So I love this box art. It's absolutely incredible. And it's one of those things where I saw it on the shelf and immediately I was like, oh, let me get a closer look at this. And how can you not love the idea of a G.I. Joe set that comes with action figures and a vehicle all doing battle with a T-Rex? It sounds like an instant win, right? Well, then I flipped the box around to the other side to see actual photos of what's inside. What even is this dinosaur, man? Like, look, the vehicle and the figure is cool, but this dinosaur looks like one of those cheap rubber dinos you would find at a dollar store. I cannot believe that this is what Hasbro decided to throw in with a G.I. Joe versus dinosaur set. Like, that sounds like it should be an instant win, an instant home run, and instead, we got this goofy looking thing. I mean, I kind of love it because it's so ridiculous, but look at that dino compared to the amazing box art. Man, I can totally understand how some kids might feel completely ripped off by this set. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of Becky's collection, starting with her amazing Princess of Power collection. Look at all that glorious pink over there. The Crystal Castle playset is opened up with several figures on display, and similar theming over on this side, with many items displayed with their packaging to show off that gorgeous box art. Oh man, these gift sets are incredible. Gift sets for Motu and She-Ra, pretty rare stuff, and I love these. I want these. So we've got Scratch and Sound Catra with Claudine and Starburst She-Ra with Crystal Swiftwind, which is especially beautiful. And if there's one girl property that I loved as a kid, if we're not counting She-Ra, because of course I had some She-Ras to go with my He-Man toys, but one that I unapologetically loved as a kid was Rainbow Bright. I loved that cartoon. I watched it all the time, and I did have one of the plushies of one of the sprites. I believe I had the red one as a kid. So I love seeing this incredible Rainbow Bright collection. And right next to that, a perfect complement, is a gorgeous Strawberry Shortcake collection. You know, I love seeing displays like this, honestly, because it's always cool to me just to see what collectors are into and the things that they focus on, especially when it's stuff that I myself don't collect a lot of or see a lot of. It's very common for me to go around and see everybody's He-Man collection and their Turtles collection and their G.I. Joes and their Transformers, but I love it when I get to see Rainbow Bright and Strawberry Shortcake and Care Bears and My Little Pony, just all these things that, you know, I myself don't have a lot of experience of, but it all still looks so amazing when it's curated and on display, and you can really see people's passions pouring through. This is what it's all about as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of, I do absolutely love the Care Bear collection here. This is another thing that I enjoyed the cartoon as a kid. I had some Care Bears figures. I love those little figures specifically, and the vehicles like the Cloud Car. All of this stuff is incredibly cool to see. Oh, and I love this, like, shelf of random things. I see a lot of things on this shelf that I'm totally nostalgic for, like glowworms, Land Before Time, Gizmo, E.T., Teddy Ruxpin, Wuzzles, a lot of very cool stuff there. And then there's this doll that really stood out to me. Her name is Krista, and she's from a doll line that I don't think I've ever heard of before. It's a line that Tonka produced called Aurora. These dolls were like super articulated, so she's practically an action figure. And she's made of like translucent plastic and she's filled with glitter. Honestly, very cool looking line. Okay, are you guys ready to do some digging? Because now we are gonna take a look at Aaron's storage room, which is absolutely crammed full of totes and totes and totes of cool toys. A lot of this room is amazing G.I. Joe, but there's more than just Joe in here. For example, I spy some very cool boxed mask toys, including count them, two Boulder Hill playsets? Whoa, that's awesome. But I love this room because like it goes deep with all of these totes that are just filled with action figures, many of which are carded G.I. Joes. But I feel like as collectors, many of us know what it's like to have all these totes stacked up of things that we're keeping but don't necessarily have room to display. It's tough, man. It's tough to be a collector of so many things and find room for it all. But I appreciate this organization, and we're gonna open some of these totes and we're gonna dig through them to see some of the cool Joes in here. So immediately I come across this amazing carded G.I. Joe figure that's packaged with a micro figure, which is so cool. I know that I've seen these micro figures before, but I don't know that I'm familiar with seeing them carded like this. And I believe these are pretty tough to come by, so this is a pretty awesome thing to see right off the bat. Ooh, Japan card back. You guys know I love my international releases, and I've definitely run into these a few times, but they are always cool to see. Oh, now this is cool. This is Ninja Viper. He was a mail-away figure and is quite an expensive one to collect right now, but here he is, all baggied up still. And sure, he's just a recolor of Storm Shadow, but come on. He's a mail-away figure. You know how those are always kind of like those elusive exclusives when you're a kid. Like mail-aways when you were a kid were really exciting, but also I imagine that we didn't all get those as often because it was easier to go into a store and buy them. And I think that's what makes some of these so rare and obscure today. So seeing this baggied up Ninja Viper, like still sealed, that's pretty cool stuff. Oh, I found the jackpot bin. It's Ninja Force time, baby. Oh my goodness. He's got all of these carded, which is something that I am definitely after myself because look at that glorious, glorious hot pink of all of these card backs. Man, I love seeing all of these figures like this. And how about some international versions of them? Equipo Ninjas! I love it! And we cannot forget about the Shadow Ninjas. Man, I love seeing these carded too. And look, we've already established that I am really into the weirdo Joes. I mean, lots of people have told me that I'm going for the stuff that nobody else cares about, but let me explain to you how nostalgia really is a big part of what makes all of us collectors, right? This era of G.I. Joe is when I, as a kid, finally got into the series. I missed the early stuff because Masters of the Universe dominated that part of my childhood. But I specifically remember a friend of mine having G.I. Joes as a kid, which is where I first experienced them. And then for one of my birthdays in the 90s, somebody got me a G.I. Joe action figure, and that's what started me on wanting to get some for my collection. So at that time, in the 90s, these were the ones that were on store shelves, and I thought they were so incredibly cool. So when I see these figures, it really takes me back to that moment as a kid when I was so excited to be experiencing G.I. Joe for the first time and discovering some of these cool figures like the Shadow Ninjas that turned invisible when you dunked them in water. Like, stuff like that was so cool to me as a kid, and that is why I love it now. So seeing this stuff makes me so incredibly happy.
G.I. Joe Shadow Ninjas, masters of invisibility. Dunk them in warm water, invisibly concealed. Douse them with cold, true colors revealed. Stealth warriors with fast action ninja moves. Karate Kid secret ninja tricks. Shadow Ninjas. Each sold separately. Color change takes 30 seconds.
Becky and Aaron were incredible hosts and have such an amazing collection. We had so much fun that evening just looking through everything. Aaron was showing all this stuff off, talking about different finds. I loved hearing the stories of like where they were tracking some of this stuff down or how they would stumble upon it in their travels. And it's all the type of stuff that we can relate to as toy collectors. Getting together like this and just enjoying the toys and the things that we collect is what I love about this hobby so very much. So I am so grateful for this opportunity and this experience. So big shout out to Take Me Home Tonight Toys, Aaron and Becky. Thank you both so very much. And with that being said, I think it's time for my haul. What? Yes! Crazy enough, I do have a small haul from this personal toy collection, which I promise is not like a thing I set out to do. I'm not bursting into people's collections saying, what can I buy or what can I have? But it just works out that way sometimes, and it's really, really cool. But let's go ahead and start here. This right here is a 2-pack that was released in 2002, but it wasn't available in stores, only online. And my friend Brett has specifically been hunting this version of Serpentor down for a long time, and Aaron happened to have an extra one, so Brett and Aaron brokered a deal, and Brett's taking this home.
Thank you so much. I have been looking for this forever. Like, this is awesome. Thanks.
Hey, Brett. Hey, Brett.
Oh, hey, man.
Hey, can I have that other guy?
Yeah, you can have the other guy.
Yay!
Okay, so we had a little fun there, but that was like his whole thing. He wanted to rip that open. He wanted to have it loose. We just had some fun goofing off making that video, but Brett really did give me that extra figure, which he did not want. So now I have a 2002 Shock Viper that was packaged with that Serpentor, and I love him. But for me specifically, Aaron gifted me an extra carded Ninja Force Slice figure that he had in his collection, which is something he totally didn't have to do, but something that I really appreciate because this version of Slice is one that I had as a kid, so having a fresh minty carded one to add to my ongoing Ninja Force collection today is really amazing. Guys, thank you so very much for watching another episode of Toy Hunting with Pixel Dan. I love to break up the actual like toy store and toy convention hunts with like these collection videos from time to time when I'm able to do so. You guys do seem to like these as well, so hopefully you enjoyed this video, but please let me know in the comments what you guys think, what kind of stuff that you want me to check out next. If there's any specific stores that you recommend, I always love to see that as well. Shout out to all of my supporters over on Patreon. You guys are amazing, but also shout out to every single one of you who take the time to watch my videos, like the videos, hit that subscribe button, and comment. You're all amazing. Happy hunting, my friends, and until next time.